Welcome back to my room and my closet. I cannot wait to get into today's subject with you because we're talking about two of my favorite topics, jeans and t-shirts. And I want to use these to show you an overall greater style lesson, which is that you can do so much with your basics. You don't have to run out and buy some designer statement piece in order to have an interesting outfit. The way that your t-shirts and jeans and things like that fit and the little details in them can make a huge impact in your outfit. So let's dive right in. This is my prized possession. I'm pretty much a minimalist, but when it comes to jeans and t-shirts, I indulge myself because I've wanted to try out all the details, all the differences, and so now I'm gonna show you what I've learned. So this pair of denim is a pair of Levi's 550s from the 90s. Back then they made them with a taper, so I just like the interesting shape. I wear these in my other video entitled What Are the Best Pants for Me? I'd recommend watching that. It shows you a lot of different pant fits. But these have that kind of carrot-shaped leg where it starts really wide, gets narrow. I find that very interesting and unique. I also love that they're super, super faded, almost white, and I like them to get even more faded as I wear them. So that's a cool pair right there. Shape and color. This one, we're bringing in another factor, that factor being texture. You can see that beautiful whiskering. The light right now is actually really good to show that. You can see there that it's been patched and repaired. Some really interesting patches there. I actually just leave the back pocket off because it preserved that darker indigo, same with the tag when that came off. I just love these things, man. There's just so much to explore there with that texture. You know, holes in the knee, dirt on the knees. There's just so much going on in this pair of pants. This is actually my prized possession probably. It's probably the favorite thing that I own, even more so than like jewelry or anything expensive. And this pair I got vintage, by the way. I spent 90 bucks on these, which to some of you might seem crazy for something so dirty, but to me, all this detail, all this wear, the amount of times I wear these, it's more than worth it. Now with this pair, you have a similar fade to the last pair I showed you, authentically faded, getting super light in the knees. I mean, I love that all the way down. But here's what's different about this pair is at the base there, first of all, these are selvage. You can see the, Levi's red line there for any of you denim nerds out there. But what I like about these is the frayed edges. I found them like this at the thrift store and I thought, why not? Let's just wear them like that. And so I like that. It gives it more of a casual edge, a little bit rock and roll. I think it's great. So you're already starting to see just how many little details can be different, even with three pairs of pants that are like a similar color. This pair just fits me differently. I decided to leave these a little bit longer in the leg, but you can see it's still got that whiskering, the authentic fading. Very beautiful pair of jeans. I left these a little longer in the leg, so I tend to wear these like over boots or over high top sneakers. And they're still like relatively like slim straight in the leg. So that's a really cool silhouette, This pair, also thrifted. I like these, for the hole in the knee. Slightly different fades. As always, the fades are going to be unique from pant to pant. And then this one I cropped a little bit shorter. So this pair looks really good with like a pair of Vans Authentics or another low top sneaker because it sits kind of higher on the shoe. And so again, fades are unique, but the length is really cool there. This is kind of my go-to pair of pants because it's just such a classic fit. Levi's 501, straight leg, looks good with pretty much anything. Nice cropped length, not too cropped. That will just sit over any shoe. Now here we go. This is a pair of Lee's that I also thrifted. These are like a nice medium blue, so I find that this goes better with black, whereas the ones I've shown you so far might pair really well with white or like bright colors. I find that like a medium blue like this can pair really nicely with black and just have just enough contrast. So that's what that's for. Also a straight leg. This is a pair that I've recently acquired. Actually, this is a pair of Old Navy bootcut jeans, and it's a very subtle bootcut, so it's really good for going over boots and high tops again, but I also like that kind of dark blue, kind of grayish fade that these have. And I just picked these up recently at the thrift. I didn't have them as an example in my last video when I was talking about flares, so I'm glad to have them now. And as you can see, we're just going with different fits, different washes, and I'm not saying, by the way, that you have to own all of these. I'm just showing you what's out there. I'm showing you how all of these make such a different impression when they're included in the outfit. Like these, boot cuts might give a little more of a rock and roll vibe, but then these royal blue ones might be a little more clean cut and classic. Or something that, isn't faded at all would be even more clean cut. I like this pair because it's got this nice grayish wash to it. Also, it's a relaxed fit. These are very popular right now. Relaxed straight jeans have definitely had a moment for a few years now. kind of in the zeitgeist. And I don't typically wear that silhouette, so I thought it would just be interesting to try out, and I do wear it some days, and it gives the whole outfit kind of a loose, relaxed, super casual vibe, like a kind of who cares vibe that I think is really cool. And this is a pair of Levi's 505s, a little bit, you know, just slightly faded, but pretty dark. These also go great with black, add some contrast to white. You know, these are a little bit longer in the leg as well. These actually break a little bit around the shoe, which I like. I just think it's good to have variety. You know, some people like a little more break, which is that crumpling around the shoe. Some people like their jeans to sit really neatly in a straight line and just touch the shoe right there. Some people like the pant to actually be cropped above the shoe and even show a little bit of sock. You know, different strokes for different folks. I just have them all so that whatever I'm feeling that day, I can do. But again, you don't have to do that. This is like years of collecting from the thrift. This is a pair that I actually bought new, and this is also Levi's 501s, my favorite fit for my body. This is a pair of shrink to fit, so you actually wear these in the bathtub, and you don't have to do the bathtub step, but that helps them shrink to your body. And then when you get out and let them sun dry, they actually have like shaped to your legs. And so these fit me so well. They fit like a glove, and you can see they have that crunchy, raw denim, and that's gonna fade so beautifully as I wear them. You can see the fade just starting to happen in the knee there. Another thing is the cuff. I'm wearing these with a cuff it a little bit high just for a different look. That cuff also gives the leg a lot of straightness because it weighs it down so it hangs super straight. And just gives some contrast. You got the dark blue, you got the light cuff that shows the, I think it's the weft is what's the white string, the white yarn underneath. This is a pair of Uniqlo jeans that I thrifted. This is like my really clean pair, like if I'm, you know, going somewhere a little bit nicer and I don't want any fading, which I don't think there's very many circumstances in modern life that require you to, you know, aside from things like weddings and business functions that require you to really look clean, and in that case I'd probably wear a trouser. But I just like these. I plan on fading them like all my other jeans as I wear them. That's part of the process, part of the journey. Just a very clean pair, but a really deep blue. And then this is another pair of Levi's shrink to fits. These are almost black in their wash. You can see that, just a super oversaturated indigo. But, you know, it's still denim, you can see underneath. And then these are cropped similar to this pair, where they just kind of touch right at the top of the shoe. So as you can see with this denim rainbow here, I mean, I just went over like probably like 12 to 15 different factors that you can mess around with your jeans. You know, if this was a character creation, you know, page on an RPG, these are all the different sliders you can play with, whether that slider is texture or color or heaviness of the yarn, you know, or shape of the leg, all these different things. High rise, you know, mid rise, am I cuffing it? Is it cropped? Is it frayed at the edge? There's so many things you can play with, and this is just a pair of jeans. There is the one that I spent 90 bucks on, but most of these I've spent like probably $7 on at the thrift, 7 to 15 bucks at the thrift. So go figure, right? You don't have to spend a ton of money to look interesting, to put together an interesting outfit. You can have a lot of fun with a little. Now, let's get on to t-shirts. I'm gonna show you on body just so you get the idea. This is like a classic fit t-shirt right here. You can see it hits a little bit higher on the arms. I've chosen to go with one that has a pocket, and it's got the slub cotton yarn, so you can see there's that little texture to the yarn. I like that. It's got the band double-stitched collar, which gives it some more sturdiness. So you can see these are all little variables, again, that you can play with, right? You don't have to go with a pocket. You could go with a classic fit without a pocket. You could go with a classic fit that has a thinner collar. You go with a collar that's more stretched out. Whatever, right? These are all things to play with. I actually took some scissors to this pair to crop it because I like it a little shorter and boxier. But you can see there's just so many variables to play with, even with something as simple as a white tee. This is a J. Crew garment dyed t-shirt, by the way. Other similar ones would be like a Hanes Nano, might be a good one. I've tried that as well. And this could just give you anything from like that 1950s greaser look to, you know, even something like a little more classic and preppy. Maybe you throw a navy blazer over this, you know. It layers really well under a sweater. So this is just kind of a vintage guy, kind of a classic guy. Or even if you just like things really pulled in, like say you're doing something, you know, a little more rock and roll down below, like you've got, you know, chains or big cargo pants or whatever, this can just balance that out give you something nice and slim and classic going on top. So this is a classic fit t-shirt. For a long time now, particularly influenced by skate culture and like hip hop and streetwear culture, we've seen shirts getting a little bit bigger, and we've now arrived at what I would call like the modern fit, which is a slightly roomier version of the t-shirt. And this is the Uniqlo U t-shirt. And I actually like this one a lot. It's a heavyweight cotton, so you can see it kind of keeps its boxy shape. You know, not a lot of my movement is going to change too much about this shirt. It just kind of hits nice and starchy, and you can see it's got a little bit of a longer sleeve. This is a small, but it looks like what a medium might look like in a classic fit shirt on me. It's got the really sturdy collar, that double stitch banded collar, which I like. And so you can see this is just a different style, just something else to play around with. This might lend itself really well to a lot of like casual looks, a lot of kind of streetwear, skate looks. And I just think the boxiness of it is nice, the oversized and the heavy cotton. This is one of my all-time favorite items of clothing. It's one of the things that really got me into fashion. This is the T by Alexander Wang t-shirt. Now, unfortunately, Alexander Wang has had some pretty serious personal allegations come against him, the person, but that just doesn't change my personal history, just enjoying the brand as creating an item that I really liked a lot back in the day. Like I bought 5 of these shirts, and I don't really buy designer. I purchased 5 of these t-shirts because I love them so much. I love the way they made me feel, you know, and the money is spent, right? Like I would not go spend money on that brand now. I might still buy some more secondhand because I'm not giving money to the corporation. And they don't make these anymore for men, at least. But I just thought it was such a unique shirt. I love the way that it hangs. It's very sheer, and so there's a very thin fabric. It's oversized like the last one I showed you, but you can see how it just kind of moves with the body. It's very thin and slinky, and it just kind of drapes over you, and I think that's so cool. I love the stretched out collar. The one I was wearing that was blue earlier in the video is the same t-shirt. I was wearing a scoop neck version of this t-shirt in the previous video. So again, not endorsing the designer as a person, but just showing you there are other options for t-shirts. I'm sure you can find this. Sanjeev, who's a YouTuber that you might know in the fashion space, makes one now that's like a blend fabric, and I haven't tried it myself, but it looks like a similar fit, and that's very interesting to me. The big story with this one is not only fit, but just the weight of the cotton. You know, this one being super sheer, the way that falls over the body versus the last one I showed you, which is really boxy and maintains its shape. So those are just 2 more factors you could play with. And again, we're still talking about something as simple as a white t-shirt. This one is not for everyone. This is a super ratty, super worn t-shirt. As you can see, holes everywhere, all throughout the shirt, right? And I think there's a reason why a lot of designers around like 2016, 2017 were releasing holey shirts, because it's just an interesting texture. You know, some people, especially parents and grandparents, might gasp that people would ever pay money for something with holes in it. But I think that when it comes to fashion, sometimes it's just about having fun, taking things as they are and turning that into something visually interesting. And so I think that this is very visually interesting, creates a lot of texture, especially if you're into more like punk or rock and roll or grunge looks. I think this could be a really cool, interesting addition. I mean, we saw Richard Hell doing it way back in the day. This is just a plain Hanes Comfort Soft. This is also what I would call classic fit. Fits very similar to that J. Crew one that I wore first. Right? You can see a little higher on the arms, close to the body. This one, though, has been worn for about a decade, and you can see it's becoming kind of sheer itself. And that's just something I wanted to discuss too, which is that sometimes you can buy things pre-worn. I love buying secondhand or going to the thrift store and seeing what I can score, but sometimes it is really fun to just take clothes on the journey of life with you and let them get older, let them acquire more character. You know, it's like the wabi-sabi philosophy, which I don't understand on a deep level, but I understand on a surface level that it is about like the transience of things. And I believe I got the right term, but it's like about just kind of letting go, accepting things are going to pass through, they're going to become old, they're going to wear thin, and just embracing that, embracing those imperfections. Finally, we have everyone's favorite, the good old-fashioned printed t-shirt. I bought this one at a vintage store, but you can find them at your local thrift. You know, you can buy one new, whatever. And you're seeing a theme. I like my kind of sheer, kind of thin shirts. And this one also has that. So that's the thing, is over time you'll decide which of these details resonate the strongest with you, and you'll buy more of those, and you'll kind of zero in on that. And that's what my channel is all about, is just kind of showing you how to make those decisions, find the things that you really love, and build your whole wardrobe around that. And obviously a printed t-shirt can just add some dimension and interest to any outfit. you know, this looks a lot more interesting. If I was just wearing a shirt and jeans, maybe in the summer, I would go for a print. You know, if I was wearing a plain shirt, I might go with a lot of accessories. I always like to have something interesting going on in the outfit, even though I'm pretty minimal. So a huge part of this channel is showing you how to be stylish on a budget. I want to show you that even with basic items, you can find very interesting versions of those items that make your outfits just that much better. And the cool thing about interesting basics is that even if you run out and buy some really flashy designer piece, that might not go with all your outfits, but if you have some really good blue jeans, a really good white t-shirt, a really good black sweater, something like that, that can be translated into so many different outfits and give all those outfits that little extra something. And even if you only build with basics, you can still make your outfits more interesting by just paying attention to things like color, texture, vintage pieces, or whatever. As always, please like and subscribe and share with a friend who could use this information. The more support I get, the more videos I'm gonna make. But as of now, I'll be releasing one every Tuesday, and thank you for tuning in.